Millionaire thought his daughter was blind, but the maid discovered the truth. The grand estate of Victor Langston stood like a fortress of marble and glass atop the cliffs of Pacific Heights, San Francisco. Towering hedges, imported fountains, and a staff of 12 attended to every need of the Langston family, or rather to Victor Langston and his 6-year-old daughter, Alara. His wife, Celeste, had passed away 5 years prior in a private jet accident over the Atlantic, leaving Victor a grieving, reclusive billionaire and Alara, as he believed, blind from birth. Victor had been told by 3 separate ophthalmologists that Alara suffered from congenital optic nerve hypoplasia, a rare condition that left her with no functional vision. He never questioned it. Grief had dulled his instincts. Guilt had silenced his doubts. He had been traveling for business when Celeste went into premature labor. He arrived at the hospital too late to hold his wife's hand as she slipped away, and too late, he felt, to ever truly protect their child. So he built walls, literal and emotional. Alara's world became velvet-lined rooms, soft carpets, chimes instead of doorbells, and a strict regimen of therapies, tutors, and specialists, all designed to help a blind child navigate a sighted world. But Alara was different. She never bumped into furniture. She could find her favorite stuffed rabbit, Mr. Whiskerton, even when Victor accidentally hid it under a pillow across the room. She'd tilt her head toward the window when the sun broke through clouds. She'd smile when Victor entered a room before he spoke. He chalked it up to heightened senses. She hears my footsteps, he'd tell the therapists. She feels the shift in air pressure. He wanted to believe it, because if she could see, then what else had he gotten wrong? Enter Rosa Mendez. Rosa was hired as a live-in maid 2 years ago, quiet, efficient, and blessedly uninterested in the Langston fortune. She came from Oaxaca, Mexico, with calloused hands and a heart that had buried 2 children of her own. She didn't care about Victor's boardroom victories or his collection of vintage Ferraris. She cared about Alara. Rosa noticed things, like how Alara's eyes followed the flutter of a butterfly through the French doors, not toward the sound, but with precise, darting focus, or how, when Rosa dropped a silver spoon on the marble floor, Alara didn't flinch at the clatter. She looked directly at the spot where it landed. One rainy Tuesday, Rosa was dusting the library shelves when she saw Alara sitting cross-legged on the Persian rug, flipping through a picture book of animals. "Miss Alara," Rosa said gently, "would you like me to read to you?" Alara didn't look up. "No, thank you, Rosa. I'm reading." Rosa froze. "Oh, you mean listening to the audio version?" Alara turned a page. "No, I'm reading the words. This one says giraffe. See? Long neck, spots." Rosa's pulse quickened. She knelt beside the girl. "Alara, can you see the pictures?" Alara looked up, straight into Rosa's dark brown eyes, and smiled. "Of course I can." Rosa's breath caught. "But your father says you're blind." Alara's smile faded. She closed the book slowly. "Daddy doesn't like it when I say I can see." "Why not?" Alara shrugged, a child's gesture heavy with unspoken sorrow. "He cries when I do." That night, Rosa didn't sleep. She replayed every moment, every glance, every step, every perfectly aimed reach for a toy or cup. Alara wasn't pretending. She wasn't confused. She could see clearly, vividly, beautifully. But why would Victor believe otherwise? And why would Alara go along with it? The next morning, Rosa made her decision. She waited until Victor left for his 7 a.m. conference call, then sat Alara down in the sunroom with a plate of warm conchas and milk. "Misha," Rosa said softly, "I need to ask you something important, and you must tell me the truth." Alara nodded, licking sugar off her thumb. "Can you see?" "Yes, always, since I was little. Maybe 3. I don't remember not seeing." Rosa's heart ached. "And your daddy, he doesn't know?" Alara looked down. "He thinks I'm broken, like Mommy broke me when she died." Rosa reached out, cupping the girl's small face. "You are not broken, Corazon. You are perfect." Alara's eyes welled. "But if I tell him I can see, he gets sad. He cries and says I failed her. I wasn't there, so I pretend. It's easier." Rosa pulled her into a hug. "No more pretending, mija. It's time he knows the truth." Victor returned from a business trip to Tokyo 2 days later, exhausted and irritable. The board was pressuring him to sell a division. His assistant had quit, and now Rosa was waiting for him in his study, a place staff were expressly forbidden to enter without summons. "Rosa," he said curtly, loosening his tie, "this better be urgent." "It is, Mr. Langston." She stood straight, hands clasped. "It's about Alara." He sighed. "If this is about the new occupational therapist, it's not. Sir, Alara isn't blind." Silence. Victor stared at her. "What did you say?" "She can see." Perfectly. She reads books. She watches birds outside her window. She draws detailed pictures of the garden. She's been pretending because she thinks it makes you happy. Victor's face went pale. That's impossible. We had specialists, tests, scans. She has optic nerve hypoplasia. It's documented. Then the tests were wrong, Rosa said firmly. Or someone lied. But I've watched her, sir, for 2 years. She sees. She just hides it. For you. Victor sank into his leather chair, stunned. Why would she do that? Because every time she mentioned seeing something, a color, a shape, a face, you'd get quiet, withdrawn, you'd apologize. She thinks you blame yourself for her condition, so she stopped talking about it. She learned to play the part. Victor's hands trembled. He remembered flashes of moments he'd dismissed. Alara pointing to a red balloon at a birthday party. That one, Daddy, before he described it. Her sketching the family dog with uncanny accuracy. But how? He'd asked. I just imagined him, she'd whispered. The time she'd found her way to his home office during a blackout. No cane, no guidance, and curled up beside him on the sofa. I knew you'd be sad in the dark, she'd said. He'd thought it intuition. Love, luck, not sight. Show me, he whispered. Rosa nodded. Come to the playroom, quietly. They stood just outside the door, peering through the slightly ajar crack. Alara sat at her low table, crayons scattered, humming softly. She was drawing, not random scribbles, but a detailed scene. The garden, the fountain, the stone cherub, even the gardener, Mr. Higgins, pruning the roses. Victor's breath hitched. Then Alara looked up, not in their direction, but toward the window. A hummingbird hovered at the feeder. Pretty, she murmured. She could see it, clearly, vividly. Victor pushed the door open. Alara startled, quickly covering the drawing with her arms. Daddy, I didn't hear you come in. He walked slowly toward her, kneeling so their eyes met. Alara, what are you drawing? She hesitated. Just a picture. Can you show me? She bit her lip, then slowly slid the paper toward him. It was breathtaking. Not a child's crude sketch, but a carefully rendered, colorful depiction of their garden, perspective, shading, even the dappled sunlight through the trees. Alara, his voice cracked. Did you see all this? She looked down. I guess so. Look at me. She did. Can you see me right now? Tears welled in her big hazel eyes, her mother's eyes. Yes, Daddy. He pulled her into his arms, holding her so tightly she squeaked. Why didn't you tell me? Because you always looked so sad when I tried, she whispered into his shoulder. I thought if I was blind, you'd stay. If I was broken, you'd fix me. But if I was okay, you'd leave, like Mommy. Victor sobbed. Great, heaving gasps. He hadn't allowed himself since Celeste's funeral. I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. The next week was a whirlwind. Victor canceled all meetings. He called in the world's leading pediatric neuro-ophthalmologists. They ran new tests, fMRIs, visual evoked potentials, genetic panels. The verdict? Alara's optic nerves were perfectly healthy. No hypoplasia, no damage, no impairment whatsoever. The original diagnosis? A tragic error. Or as one specialist delicately suggested, possibly influenced by the father's emotional state and the hospital's desire to provide a clear explanation during a traumatic time. Victor fired the original medical team. He didn't sue, he didn't rage, he simply walked away, holding Alara's hand. He took her to the zoo, her first time. She gasped at the lions, pointed at the flamingos, laughed as monkeys swung above her head. He bought her paints, easels, colored pencils, whatever you want, sweetheart. Show me your world. They sat for hours as she drew. Sunsets, seashells, her father's face. You have a wrinkle here, she'd say, tapping his forehead. When you're thinking hard, he started therapy for himself, to untangle the guilt, the grief, the self-imposed prison of his sorrow. And Rosa, Victor offered her a raise, a car, a house. She refused all but the raise. Just let me keep taking care of her, Rosa said. That's all I want. One evening, 6 months later, Victor sat on the terrace, watching Alara chase fireflies in the twilight. She ran barefoot through the grass, giggling, her sundress fluttering, her eyes bright with wonder. Rosa brought him tea. She's magnificent, Victor said softly. She always was, Rosa replied. You just needed to see her. He smiled. Thank you, Rosa, for seeing what I was too afraid to. Rosa patted his shoulder. Sometimes, Mr. Langston, love makes us blind, but it's never too late to open your eyes. Alara came running up, breathless, holding a firefly cupped gently in her palms. Look, Daddy, it's like a tiny lantern. He looked, truly looked into her glowing face, her sparkling eyes, her unbroken spirit. I see it, sweetheart. He whispered, "I see it all." And for the first time in 6 years, Victor Langston didn't just look at his daughter. He saw her. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to ACA Story Tales for more interesting stories.